Good evening everybody and welcome to round 15 of the GPVWC Super League season. Tonight we're at Abu Dhabi. It's been, well, feels like a little while, I believe 5 years now, since the last time we visited the Yas Marina circuit. We're on a new layout. In commentary today we've got myself, Ryan Elliott, and we have just been joined just in the nick of time by Caitlin Penny.
Hello everyone, yes, my apologies. I've literally only just turned on my computer. I had no idea what the time was, and when I saw it was 7:34, I kind of panicked. But yeah, I have made it. Hope you've all had a wonderful 2 weeks since the last Grand Prix, and I'm sure, will have a wonderful 2 hours watching the qualifying, and then the full Grand Prix from the penultimate race of the season. Remember, of course, this is one that could decide the championship. It probably won't, considering that there is only 2 points between Jake Denahan and Tom Stevens, so realistically Tom would have to DNF for the championship to be wrapped up today, and we very much hope that that does not happen, because of course we would love for it to go down to the wire, to the very last round of the championship. And of course there are a number of circumstances where they would go into the final round of the championship on equal points. I think that might be a little too much to ask for. That would require some luck. But could you imagine, Ryan? It's been quite a season so far.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one. Been a bit up and down. We've had Jake missing a race due to some technical difficulties, for example. A few penalties as well, which spiced it up. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to go down to the final round, and you know, Interlagos in the real world and in the sim racing world always provides a good championship battle. But tonight we're talking Abu Dhabi. Like I was saying in the build-up, the last time we were here is 2018. The winner on that occasion being Alex Siebel. So it's been a few years, but we're back. New circuit layout as well. This layout came into action in, was it 21 or 22?
21.
I can't remember. Yeah, 21, right? So yeah, and first time these drivers are seeing it. Curbs are quite tricky here, but looks like it's going to be fun, that's for sure.
That's true, I hadn't thought of that. This is the first time, of course, that GPVWC has raced on this new layout. So unfortunately we can't really compare that record or anything along those lines. But that is absolutely okay. We've only just started this qualifying session actually, by the look of it. So we've only had a few laps in, but currently it's Jake Dennehan at the top of the times as per usual, followed by Owen McGorgy, Jan Grankvist. Remember how close Jan got to winning his first Grand Prix last time out? He was by far the fastest driver in the race, but qualifying did not go his way, partly due to the changeable conditions. Stefan Roll here is looking quick, although did tap the wall slightly in that third sector. And he crosses the line and goes fourth, so the order is currently Dennehan, McGorgy, Grankvist, Roll and Maguire, but obviously plenty of time for it to change. Welcome back to Luke Maguire, by the way. He was replaced in the last round by Chris Butcher, but he has returned to the field. Also returning Fabio Sixter, who's been missing the last few races, and I'll be looking up and down the field to see if I can spot any new names. Silver Joffa, has he done any races so far this season?
I think he did an emergency appearance, yeah, for an
He's done 3 Grand Prix with a best result of 16th position. But yes, he is racing for Red Archer today. In fact, his previous starts, his first start was for Green Stripes, and then yeah, he's done Red Archer since then. So welcome back to Silver Jofford as well.
Yeah, big talking point tonight, Fabio Sixter back. It feels like it's only been a few, but he's actually been gone for the majority of this season. Had the worst luck, technically, at the start of this year, so I'm hoping now that he's managed to sort out some of his tech bugs and can at least make it past, like, I don't think he even made it past like 10 laps for the majority of the races at the start of the season, so fingers crossed he has a clean one tonight, and hopefully him and Jeff have been able to put in some good bit of testing together, get him back in the rhythm. And P18 at the moment, you know, former winner, so we're going to expect a little bit more from him, maybe get a little bit closer to Jeff, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt since he's missed out on quite a bit.
Yes, well, according to the championship standings, Fabio's only done one Super League race this year. It was the very first one, which he finished in P22, although I seem to remember he had a disconnect or something, which is why he was so far down. Although he has, of course, raced for the majority of last season, having technical bugs all the way through, and his previous races as well. I think he had like 10 DNFs in a row at one point.
Was that last season?
Yeah. Well, I thought he'd done more races this year as well, but according to the championship standings, we are mistaken, and he's done 1 Grand Prix.
Huh. There we go.
The more you know. Here's Adam Maguire out on the road, a previous winner in this season. He's won 2 Grand Prix actually. He won the Australian Grand Prix and the Singapore Grand Prix. So the last time we raced at night, of course, he was competitive there. Through that sweeping left-hander that used to be much more jagged with a silly little chicane in the middle, and nowadays blows much more nicely, and then through underneath the hotel, very suggestively shaped hotel that lights up at night, and he's going to tag the wall there, so he does lose a couple of tenths of a second or a couple of hundredths of a second potentially in doing that. It really doesn't cost you much because you want to get as close to the wall as you can anyway, and it can help to straighten the car out. He goes 3rd position there, so it didn't seem to affect his lap at all, really. Although I'm sure that if he could help it, he would just avoid the wall rather than actually tagging it. True purple in the second sector, by the way, for Matthias Moose. Oh, sorry, just beaten by Tom Stevens.
Yeah, I mean, look, well, Matthias looks like he's on a bit of a flyer here. Purple sector 1 and 2 on our display here as he comes into the final sector. Just one more corner to go, look pretty clean through there. Keeps it straight on exit as well. Let's see what he can do. He's bound to only 2 positions gained, lost 3.5 tenths in that final sector alone. And judging by where he finished that lap, yeah, he would have went on pole if he'd done even a similar lap to similar sector to Dennehan. But now watching on board with Owen McGorgy, who's going purple sector 1 and 2 as well. See what you can do. See if you can do a little bit better in the third sector than Matthias. And no, it does improve, but doesn't manage to beat Jake Dennehan. Dennehan looks like he's on a slow lap here, but actually his 2 sectors are only combined about 200ths off his fastest lap so far. So if he finds something in the final sector, he might be on for an improvement here. No, decides to bail out instead. Still got a good bit of time though, good 6 minutes. Short-ish lap here. Only 1 minute and 20. Ruben Machete getting a bit of a slide on through second to last. So yeah, the outlap's not too long here, so people will be able to get another couple of laps in before the end of the session easily.
Absolutely. Ruben Machete here, who came in late in the season. Robin Panzer, who has a win under his belt, won the Belgian Grand Prix. And Stefan Roll, who surprisingly does not have a win under his belt so far this year. In fact, last time out in Japan was his very first podium of the season with 3rd place. He was going to finish 2nd, but gave that up to his teammate Jake Dennehan on the very last lap, the last chicane of the last lap, in order to give Dennehan those extra points, which was very quick thinking from Stefan. I'm sure they planned that before, and he goes 3rd position there, and not a bad lap whatsoever, so gets himself right up there, directly behind his teammate Jake Dennehan on the grid if they were to start as they are now. I know that seems strange since they've got a car between them, but it's just the way the grid works, staggered formation. But yeah, Stefan 3rd place as it stands. Robin Panzer still on an outlap. We have 25 cars here so far. I believe it's the 2nd Green Stripes car that's missing. No, both Green Stripes cars are here.
I think it's is it the mode? No, we got 2 modes as well.
Yes, I'll keep an eye
out. Was
it
a Dax car maybe? I see Pushka, but I don't see another stack.
Yeah. So just Pascal Pushka here. Last time out, was it David Wasserman who took that car out? No, I don't know why that name was in my mind. Yes, it was, sorry. Yeah, David Wasserman took the Stax car out last time out and finished 18th in that car, but doesn't appear to have made it today unless he comes in later on in this qualifying session. Little twitch for Grankvist in the chicane, gets it back under control and heads up towards the sweeper. If you haven't seen the last Grand Prix at Suzuka, it was an all-time classic, and definitely after this race that's one to look up. If you did miss that race, then shame on you, because my goodness did you miss out. It was a cracker right to the end where you did not know who was going to win until literally a couple of corners before the end of the race. And definitely up there with the 2021 Brazilian Grand Prix, which was very similar. Grankvist coming into the pits now, so bailing out of that lap. Luke Maguire has a true purple in the 1st sector. I actually watched back the Japanese Grand Prix with my mum a few days after the race actually happened. And during qualifying, she said, "Stop saying true purple, just say purple." But there is a difference, of course, because a purple on your screen could just mean that they're faster than the leader in that sector, not necessarily the fastest car overall. And a true purple is when they are actually the fastest car overall, and therefore have the actual purple sector. So, screw you, mum, there is a reason behind my madness. Eris Masculi, talking of that, has actually done a true purple in the 2nd sector, which is very impressive considering he's currently 23rd in the order, so I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that lap. And meanwhile, we do have 26 cars now, because David Wasserman has turned up in the 2nd stacks. Keep your eye on Masculi though, oh, he's coming in.
I think he did a little bit of a cut, because it says he's minus 1.3 seconds in the middle sector. Either that or he found a 9th gear. So yeah. Oh, but here's somebody on an actual lap. Matthias Musk, purple sector 1 and sector 2. Not sure if they're true though, because I don't have first view up, but let's see what he can do.
I'm afraid.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But anyway, he did struggle in the final sector last time, lost about 3/10. Got a bit of a slide in the second to last corner, but he should be an improvement on 8th at least, and jumps up to P4, but again, 3/10 off in that final sector.
Nicely done. Matthew Williams now, who I incorrectly declared as a previous race winner in the last race. He's come close, but is yet to break his duck. Goes P13, so not an improvement on his personal best. He was about 1/10 of a second off there. But we're into the final 2 minutes of the session now, so this is the important part. There's very limited time, pretty much no time to come back in and go back out again. So you've got to have your car set up, and you've got to be looking forward to your final flying lap now. You will only get one more chance, realistically. And some of these drivers will only get one chance. Fabian Schirtzig doesn't look as if he's going to set a lap at all in this session. David Wasserman is out on track for his only lap of the session. And some of the drivers will certainly be hoping to improve on their final attempt. Ruben Machedi, P11, definitely has the pace to get into the top 10. Has a good car as well with the Nocturne. We're getting to that point in the season where the cars really are making a difference, and he approaches now the sweeping left-hander. We'll have to go up a track map and see if there's a corner name for that one, so I don't have to keep calling it the sweeping left-hander. But
I don't actually know, and funny enough, that was actually the corner that I was sat on in 2022.
Apparently it's turn 9.
Is that just what it's called?
Well, they don't really have corner names in Abu Dhabi, I'm afraid. It's too modern for that.
Whoa, that was a massive snap for Machedi there, but that's a bit of a letdown. I do like a good corner name.
Yeah, it's only the classic tracks that have them, really. So who was that? Ruben Machedi goes up to P9 with that lap, not bad at all. And actually, it's a very close grid in this qualifying session. Hopefully Denahan's not now going to blow us out of the water, but that is a good first sector for Jake Denahan. Even faster first sector actually for Owen McGorky, who we haven't really mentioned much in this session yet, but he's doing an incredible job up there in second position. Remember, McGorky is brand new to Super League as well. It's not his first Grand Prix, and he has had a podium before, but he is very, very new indeed, and obviously still yet to break his winning duck as well. Royal bails out. Royal will not be going any quicker. Jake Denahan, he's down in the second sector. McGorky was about 1/10.5 quicker in that second sector. McGorky's a real threat for pole here towards the end of the session. Denahan now out of the final corner. He might still improve. Tiny little twitch, get it under control, cross the line. And it is an improvement because he goes true purple in the third sector. So Denahan goes with a 121.983. McGorky slides, that might have done it. Here we go. Across the line. And he misses out by 7 thousandths of a second. Owen McGorky will be second on the grid at this rate by 7 thousandths of a second. Adam Maguire goes third to deroute Stefan Roth to fourth position. But it is a very close grid up in front. Admittedly, there's about 1/10 between McGorky and Maguire, but behind that, Maguire right down into the pack are very closely separated. Mark Schluter goes 6th. Nice lap from Mark there. Here comes Stepkowski. Stepkowski, P11. Luke Maguire goes P4 right at the end. The field's getting even closer as I'm watching it. Tom Stevens goes 8th. He'd have been hoping for better than that, because if they were to finish 1st and 8th, Denahan would build up quite a lead going into the final round of the championship. He would still be in contention, but that would be quite a difficult one to assail. But there you go. All 26 drivers in the session. 25 cars set laps, and here you see them in their order. Jake Denahan taking pole position by just 7 thousandths of a second over Owen McGorky, then Adam Maguire, Luke Maguire, Stefan Roth, Matthias Moose, Mark Schluter, Tom Stevens, Jan Granqvist, and Ruben Machedi, the top 10. So keep an eye on those times and place your bets on who is going to win this one. Following them, Daniel Stepkowski, then winner of the last Grand Prix, Tomasz Bock, P12, Zolt Shukes, P13, and Matthew Williams, Jeffrey Fournier, Jakob Pekalali, Robin Panzer, Pascal Pollent, Philip Pushgate and Giuseppe Lino. I know that doesn't look great for the RSR guys there, 11 and 12, but remember, that's exactly where Thomas Fogg won from last time out. Fabio Sixta, P21, then Carlos Martin, P22, Eris Masculi, David Basserman, Silva Yoffert, and Fabian Schiertzig make up the grid of 26 cars. Ryan, very close session there. I mean, you know, there are 4, 5, 6 drivers who could win this one, right?
I'd say maybe even more. We learned last time out that, you know, grid possession doesn't mean everything, and I'm not even just talking about Tomasz there. I mean, look at where Jan started last time, and he absolutely flew through the pack. So anybody can do it. I strongly believe that this grid anybody could win, given the right set of circumstances. I'm happy to see my drivers where they are actually. I'm not too sure what the strategy is going to look like around here. It's not a track I'm overly familiar with. How was it in FS1 for you? Was it high deg, low deg?
Wait, you're talking to Szymon because I wasn't driving.
You weren't driving? Or are you FS2?
I wasn't driving FS2 either. I thought
you were.
I haven't been a full-time driving FS2 since the start of the year.
I am well out of it tonight, Anna. I'm still must be flipping drunk from celebrating our win in Suzuka.
Well, I
getting
did
all my facts wrong tonight.
I did commentate FS2 and I didn't see anyone complaining about tyres, so... apparently we had 2 and 3 stops in SL2, so for Super Light, which has a slightly longer race, could be 3-stop strategy relatively safely. What have your drivers been saying about it? Have you spoken to them?
I'm going to be brutally honest. Not had a chance to talk to them today.
Fair enough.
I've been so rushed off my feet with work at the moment. I've had a bit of a manic last week or so.
That's okay. Let's take a look at the driver's standings quickly. Jake Dennehan retook the lead of the championship yet again in the last race from Tom Stevens. Every time Stevens pulls ahead, Dennehan seems to pull back through. Jan Grankvist is third in the championship, despite not having had a victory yet. Oh my goodness, we really thought he was going to do it last time out until that final 130R. Tomasz Vok is fourth in the championship due to his victory last time out. He moves ahead of Adam Maguire. Great job from Tomasz Vok there. Well-deserved victory, of course. Jukka-Pekka Laulu is P6, followed by Luke Maguire, who missed the last round in the championship. Then it was Robin Panzer, Daniel Stepkowski, and Mark Schluter, the rest of the top 10. Schluter doing well to hang on to 10th because he DNF'd in the last race, although just behind him is Stefan Brewer, who is challenging for that top 10 in the championship at this point, especially since he got his first podium of the season last time out. I know it's a little strange to be predicting victories and things so early in this race, but I always find it's just a harmless bit of fun. I'm actually going to say Luke Maguire, recovering from having a round off. I think that fourth place on the grid is a place that he can really challenge from, and with his brother alongside him and his teammate losing points behind him as well, I think that he is going to be fighting, and I think he is he stands a very good chance of taking this dub today, but we shall see.
I am going to go with Granquist and Stepkowski. Stepkowski, my long shot.
Okay, well, Stepkowski, of course, P11 on the grid, so that would make sense if we're continuing the form from last time out. Where's Granquist today? He's P9, isn't he? Yeah. Okay, you've gone bold there.
Yeah. And
I guess you saw the pace
if he could cut through the field, he's always, well, not always. He started off as, and he admitted it himself. He started off as a hot lapper at the start of the season, but his race form last year has been really good. And I don't know. I just think, why not?
Fair enough, fair enough.
Why?
Well, there you see the team's championship standings on your screen there. THR will be shocked to be at the top of the team standings in their very first season of Super League. They can wrap that up today, although my brain does not think far forward enough to work out exactly how, considering we've got 2 drivers on each team to worry about. Suf Venturi are out of it now, I think. 3rd in the championship, and still yet to score a victory, but their drivers have been insanely consistent this year. Nocturne are 4th in the... No, they're not. Powered by RSR are 4th in the championship. Sorry, I was looking at the team sheet on the standings, and it's not entirely correct. So there you go. Powered by RSR, 4th in the championship, followed by Nocturne. Then you've got Adonis Engineering, Stax, Holland Racing Team, Green Stripes, and Epic Racing Team. And then, of course, Red Archer, Mood Auto Concepts, and Mascara ADG, who have been struggling for points yesterday, or recently. Although Eris Masculi did manage to bag a singular point for Pescara ADG last time out. They are going to need to have a better result than that to get themselves up the standings and away from probable relegation. But anyway, got 5 minutes of this warm-up session left. Hello to everyone joining us in the YouTube chat, as always. We've got plenty of people here. Mateus Pishan asking, Jake can win the title today, right? That is technically true. He would need to win with Tom Stevens failing to finish or failing to finish in the points. But yeah, that is technically a possibility. Very unlikely though, especially considering Tom Stevens has finished in points at every single race so far this year. In fact, he's finished in the top 5 at every single race this year. So something literally unprecedented would have to happen for Jake Denham to win the championship today. Yes. Mateus says, I'd like to see Jake win the World Drivers' Championship today, but it would kill the hype. Yeah, it would. Come on, we need to have a 2012 type finale. Get it all hyped up and let's have it down to the wire. 2021, remember, was like that too, not just in Formula 1. Albeit that was very controversial, but Super League that year, that was decided on the final lap. Let's do it again, why not? Aviation Chad, hello to you as well. If we get the most insane race and Stevens gets P40, Denham somehow DNFs, we would get a literal Lewis versus Max just in GPVWC. There are other ways of doing that as well. For example, 4th place scores 2 more points than 5th place, so if Tom was 4th and Jake was 5th, then they would go in equal on points. If, for example, Tom was 3rd and Jake was 4th with fastest lap, it would be the same thing there as well. So that there are a few different ways that that would happen, but it is also relatively unrealistic. But you know, as Aviation Chat says, we like to dream. Daka2, that is Alex Lohu, says hello Caitlin/Toby. That is not how my name is spelled, but don't worry about it. Everyone does that at least.
That's the thing you picked up on out of that.
Oh yeah, you're not Toby, are you? Oh.
No, I am not Toby.
Okay. Anyway, there you go. Hello, Szymon Camerawork. Is that your name now, Szymon? God, Daka, you have somehow managed to get all 3 of our names wrong. I know one of those was kind of a, but in doing that, you seem to have managed to get all 3 of our names wrong. So, well done. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Violin. That almost rhymes. Hello, Dommy Space. And of course everyone else who is watching along. Fantastic stuff. Well, we've got Joe Gillette. He scored his first podium in in FS2 the other day too. I know that because I was commentating a pretty good race there from Joe, and maybe someone that we'll see in Super League in the future. Who knows? So 2 minutes left now in the warm-up session. Ryan, what's going on in the world of research and development? Has everyone finished their development for the year?
I haven't checked, but I assume everybody is pretty much done now. Some people... There's no point in doing any R&D unless you need the extra points to go towards your 2024 car. You're able to bank up and then submit 300 R&D points for your 2024 car, which we've already done. We were able to cross it off so that we haven't had to do any more test sessions, because the test sessions do cost money. So now we can just kind of cruise to the finish, no more expected upgrades. Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a boring part of the year for a team boss. Not as much to do.
Yeah, I was going to ask how it works actually. Do you have to, or is it a possibility to kind of sacrifice the development of this year's car to work on next year's development options? Or is
only
that
them 300 points? That's it.
Gotcha.
You can submit them at any point in the year. So we kind of finished our upgrades and then had a few spare, and then did one or two extra sessions to kind of get us over that 300 mark. Got that submitted, and kind of it now. We just need to submit engines for Interlagos and choose our marketing package. So you put on like a hospitality for your virtual guests. And this is classed as a high-profile event, so a lot of people will have probably gone for one of the more expensive packages for this round. You get more return.
Fair enough. God, this all boggles my brain. I feel like I'd have to actually do it to understand how it works. But
you get like
explain.
You get a sponsor satisfaction rating.
Fascinating.
And depending on how satisfied your sponsor is with what our sponsors are, depends on how much they pay you out next bidding season. The next year, when it comes to bidding for sponsors, it essentially pays you back by having a good sponsorship satisfaction rating.
That is brilliant stuff. Honestly, this is our unique selling point for GPWC, and I feel like we really need to push this more going into the future. So thank you for taking the time to explain all of that to us. And it really does affect the racing as well. So it's something you don't see anywhere else in the world of sim racing, pretty much.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. And that's why it's good, and it makes it enjoyable as a team owner as well.
Absolutely. GPVWC isn't just for the fans, isn't just for the drivers, it's for everyone involved, and there really are more people behind the scenes doing all sorts of things that you couldn't even imagine. So the checkered flag is now out on the session, on the warm-up session. I've just seen something that I got very distracted by. Different tab, but we will ignore that. So the checkered flag is now out on the warm-up session, so we just have to wait a couple of minutes now while the drivers get their cars up and onto the grid, and then of course we will be away for a formation lap. We'll be able to take you through the grid with any potential penalties that have been updated or anything. I haven't had a chance to check the disciplinary tab.
Yeah,
actually,
there is one or two.
Okay.
But we'll probably get to that when the grid goes. But just before we do get into everything, personally, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody involved. Suzuka was not just a highlight for me as a team owner, but as a broadcast, I was really proud of the work from everybody, and I had a lot of messages, not just about the result, but genuinely just complimenting how great a broadcast it was and how great a race it was, and that goes out to all the broadcast team as well as the drivers for putting on a good show. And also looking at the steward disciplinary, that's kind of reflected that there wasn't too many penalties.
It's very true. It was actually a remarkably clean race, but there you go. And thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate it. Even my mum said it was a very professional broadcast, so there you go. Anyway, away we go on the formation lap. The only penalties that we'll get for this one are Fabian Schitzik was given a back of the grid penalty, which does explain why he didn't set a qualifying lap. and Chris Shepherd and Chris Butcher were both penalised, but I don't think either of the Chris's are here today, so that doesn't end up mattering. Right, let's see the qualifying order now. So Jake Dennehan is on P1, is on pole position by 7,000ths of a second, sorry, from Owen McGorgy. And it's Adam Maguire and Luke Maguire, my pick for the win. Stefan Rohr is P5, then it's Matthias Moos P6, Mark Schluter P7, Tom Stevens P8. Wouldn't he love a result today? Doesn't he need it? Ruben Machete is P9, followed by Jan Grankvist, who had a one-place grid penalty for failing to complete turns 1 and 2 after the race last time out. Daniel Stepkowski and Tomasz Rock at P11 and P12. Good positions to be if last time was anything to go by. Zolt Schukes is P13, then Matthew Williams P14, Jeffrey Fournier and Jakub Lali. Robin Panzer, Pascal Pollens, Philip Pushke and Giuseppe Rino, P17, 18, 19 and 20. After them we have the return of Fabio Sixter and Carlos Martin, Eris Masciuli and David Wasserman, who made it in rather last minute. And the final 2 spots on the grid will be made up by Silver Joffert and Fabian Schitzik, who had a back of the grid penalty, and that was for using escape on track and rejoining the circuit in qualifying at the last event. So that is how the grid will line up here. 26 cars in that order. It's a full house of cars here today. Yes, I know you're going to bring up the teams that pulled out before the season started, but in terms of what we've got in front of us, this is a full house. How is Tom Stevens starting on hard? Did he? Yes, okay, so we're just hearing he's actually on softs. That wouldn't make any sense. So that's a graphical error there for some reason. Because it's saying he's on softs on race view, so I don't quite know what's going on there. We believe that Tomasz Rock is the top driver not on softs. He is on the medium compound tyre, so Daniel Stepkowski is also at the start on softs, and Jakub Lali will be the top driver on hard tyres. So do ignore the hard tyres for Tom Stevens. I'm sure I would have noticed if he qualified on hard tyres. That would have been quite evident, but anyway. Onto the grid they go now, and we await the 5 red lights. They will illuminate one after the other, and when they go out, we'll be underway for 58 laps of racing here at the Abu Dhabi Yas Marina circuit. Not the most popular circuit on the calendar, but absolutely can provide a race or two in GPWC. And here we go. 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's go from Yas Marina. So Jake Dennehan will lead us away down towards turn 1. McGorky slotting in behind him. Behind them, the Maguires went side by side, and it's 3 wide further back, and there was a spin, and it's Stevens. Oh, and it's a huge impact.
Whoa.
Oh no, please don't tell me that Tom Stevens is out of the race. That would decide the championship. Stevens has lost his rear wing. He's going to struggle to get the car back to the pits, and this, guys, could be the championship over, I'm afraid to say. If Jake Dennehan wins this race and Tom Stevens does not score points, then the championship will not go down to the final lap. That is the last thing that we wanted to see happening at the first corner of the race. I very much hope that that was not someone else's fault, because that would be absolutely gutting. Looking back at it, I think Stevens lost it by himself over the curb, and then unfortunately several cars behind him got involved, including, by the look of it, both HRTs. That is tragic for that team. Actually, I'm not sure about that. No, sorry, because Owen McGorgy is an HRT. Was ahead of that all. But definitely Pascal Pollens was involved in that. Giuseppe Lino, Robin Panzer, oh, that's the other orange colour I saw there. Panzer was involved. So unfortunate stuff here on the first lap, which may well have decided the World Championship way before, almost 2 races before we expected it to happen. And we're going to get a replay on board with Stevens. Now, did he get crowded, or did he lose it over the curb? There's a slight tap with the GSR, and I think he loses it over the curb. I don't think... Oh, God, that's a big hit. I don't think anyone did anything untoward there. I really don't think that that was a foul of any kind. We're watching on board with Matthias Moos now. This is the car that was on Stevens' outside. He gets touched. Oh, so there's contact with Ruel, and Moos spins into Stevens, but still I don't think there was a foul. looking back at it, that really does look like a racing incident. It looks like the kind of thing that just happens on the first lap. There's Rock coming over. Moose didn't expect him to come over quite that quickly, but I really... Oh, and there's a big impact behind. One of the Rude cars involved in that. I really don't think that anyone did anything untoward there. And I think that is an unfortunate consequence of first lap drama. Carlos Martin was the Rude car that was involved, so 5 cars into the pits at the end of the first lap. Tom Stevens is still in this race, but he has a lot of work to do if he's going to score a point here today. And unfortunately, like I said earlier, he now has to rely on other drivers taking the victory away from Jake Dennehan, because otherwise it might be over. Ryan, what a tragedy.
Yeah, it's not a great start to the race. Not just for Tom, obviously, but you know, for a championship battle, we want to see it as tight as possible. And does Tom's? Yeah, looks like he's still got out on the lead lap. P23, so he's got some work to do, but you know, he's one of the quickest drivers on this grid, so there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to try and close in on the pack, and even if he can just scrape a couple of points, just keep himself in it.
Yeah,
ever so
Pascal
slightly,
Collins and
that's all
Robin
he can
Panther are
do.
back in the pits after that lap, so I wonder if they got pit lane speeding penalties maybe, or
Robin
Panther's
Panther's
just
DNF.
DNF, I'm afraid to say, so he's called it a day. People in the chat are bringing up a very important point, which is that Stefan probably didn't know that they were 3 wide. Tom's move came quite late. He was side by side with the green stripes before the corner, remember? That would have been much smoother. And then he went up the inside of Matthias, and that all happened quite late. Now look at Owen McGorgy. He's up the inside. McGorgy goes through, and just behind him as well, Dennehan and Maguire only just make it through single file by themselves, but a good move from McGorgy, so he now leads this race. The RS is active from this lap as well, and that could keep the championship alive, but of course we have a long way to go. Now we are watching David Wasserman further in the pack, in the other Stax racing car. He managed to get through the collision. Don't know if he got hit at all, but he didn't lose his front wing or anything like that. And he continues on his way. Looking back to the action, Jake Dennehan here, chasing down Owen McGorky, who just got through on that last lap. David Yunt saying, could this be the McGorky movement? Yep, it's a good one actually. The McGorky movement has a nice ring to it. Of course, Owen McGorky, who proclaimed himself the Super Lights champion earlier this year by winning 8 races from the first 14, basically. Very impressive stuff from the first 12 races, so only lost 4 in the first part of the season, then scored a 2nd place at Singapore to wrap it up, and ended up leading that season, or that series, with 3 races to go. Dominant stuff from Owen McGorky. We knew that he was potential. We have known that for a long time. And he's really proven that here. He proved that when he came into Super League this year, scored 3rd place on his first outing in Azerbaijan. Since then, of course, he's been in the points every time he's finished, and today he is on for something even better than that. And now we have to start looking forward to the pit stop stages as well, because that is the most important thing in GPWC Super League. It changed the complexion of the race last time out. It will surely do the same today. And just like last time, the order that we're looking at now may not end up being the fight for the lead towards the end. There is a long way to go. And they're about to catch traffic too. Giuseppe Lino, who was affected by the incident at the start, who will hopefully get out of the way as soon as he sees the blue flags. And I'm afraid to say that Pascal Pollens is now out of the race as well. So we have 2 DNFs after that opening lap schmozzle, and unfortunately that only leaves us with 24.
Yeah, it's a shame. We don't like to see people go out. We want to see as many people fighting as possible, but yeah, just tricky with that lap 1 incident. But looking at Jake now, he's just kind of settled in behind. I don't want to say settled. That's probably the wrong word when you've got a Maguire breathing down your neck. you're never going to quite be settled, as we see that's Elliott has made the move on Stepkowski. Yeah, both on the soft tyre, so both going to be on a similar kind of strategy, but just managed to still keep within range of Jan Granquist. As you see a replay here, I'm guessing, of this move. No, this is of Maguire. Let's see what happens. Does he get a little bit loose on exit, maybe? Yeah, it runs over the curb all the way. Wow, great. To be honest, it was the best thing he could have done there was bail out of that like he did. So that was good from Adam.
There were a couple of people in FS2 who didn't bail out of moves like that and ended up going for a spin. Mark Schluter is now up into 9th place, through on Daniel Stepkowski. So through he goes. Those two both starting on soft tyres. Schluter because he had to, Stepkowski because he decided to go with the top 10. Down the back straight they go now. Lap 6 out of 58. Jake Dennehan still on the back of Owen McGorgy. There are 2 DRS zones on this track, I believe, and this is not one of them unless I'm... Oh, it is. Sorry, I am very much mistaken. Are there 3 DRS? No, because the pits... Sorry, this threw me off last time. The start-finish straight is the DRS zone. Stefan Roth now. Ooh, well, he took a look at Luke Maguire's THR. Luke, of course, fending him off nicely. You really have to be fully ahead of your opponent going into that corner. And to be honest, the inside line is the place to be. But Stefan bailing out of it. I actually quite like the way the DRS zones work on this track because, yeah, we could probably do with one down the start-finish straight, but there's of course the first DRS zone, and then you've got a chicane where you very, very much can overtake. And you've got to think to yourself, is it actually better to overtake there, or am I going to lose out in the second DRS detection zone? And sometimes it's actually better to hang back in the second detection zone. Because if you can't, or if you don't, they can actually get the switch back and come straight back through again. So it does lead to some relatively strategic racing there. Unfortunately, you can also get a bit of a DRS train if the car ahead is too quick to overtake. But luckily, the straights are long enough that that doesn't end up being too much of an issue. And then, of course, you have that long turn 9, which is always impressive to see cars battling through. This version of the circuit is definitely an improvement on the last layout of the circuit, which to be honest isn't exactly saying much, but there you go.
Yeah, I've never known.
Sorry.
I've never known how I felt about this circuit. It's not ever been a particular favourite of mine, but I think it's cool to race under the lights, that's for sure.
Yeah, relatively. There are better places where you could do it, of course. I'm sure everyone can agree that Singapore is an objectively better circuit. And,
disagree.
Really? Okay.
I hate Singapore. Sorry.
See, I always think that if there's one Middle Eastern circuit that always gets overlooked and that we should really consider racing at, it's the Dubai Autodrome with its semi-banked corners and undulating twists and turns. I really like that circuit. Honestly, it's easily grade 1. So, yeah, we could do Dubai any day.
One for Academy.
Hey, we've done it in Academy. I think we have actually.
Well, while we were talking there, I just noticed that one of the green stripes pitted in.
A bit early for a schedule.
Yeah, Mark Schluter, yeah, came in lap 8.
He did, and that's out of the top 10 actually. So
yeah, he was like P9 or something.
Sorry, Dennehan does have a good run here on a buggy. Has done for the last few laps, but he was slightly that time around. Yeah, what we often see in Superleague is drivers pitting quite early to get off those soft tyres, simply because they go off so quickly. And then they're able to do much longer stints on the hards than we expect. So that's something we could potentially see again today. But I wasn't exactly expecting lap 8. Oh, and Joffert there coming into contact with David Wasserman. Only a little bit. He's lucky to keep his front wing. I think he probably just had a slight rotation, and then Wasserman had nowhere to go. You see a replay of that now. He's actually on the tail of another car. One of the green stripes, possibly Mark Schluter after his stop. Ooh. And they touch, and then, ooh, there's the secondary impact.
Anyway, everyone does a good I think everybody does a good job there hanging onto it. We did see yellow in sector 1, which I'm guessing by this replay was for Carlos Martin.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess a big slap. Does he?
He hits
both wings. It's
Could
unfortunate.
be out of race there, I'm afraid. Yep, he is, I'm afraid. So Carlos Martin becomes our 3rd retirement. We've had more pit stops on that last lap as well. Stefan Rohr was in, Matthias Moos, Ruben Machete, and Luke Maguire. Luke has lost out. Sorry, so and Dennehan's got McGorgy, my apology. Dennehan has got McGorgy. One thing I've noticed there, Luke Maguire has lost out. He's jumped by Rohr, Moose, and Schluter, and also Machete. They all jumped past him, didn't they? So Luke Maguire there, who pitted slightly later, has not gained from that. Sorry?
Just one lap.
Guys, the undercut really that powerful. Yeah, Lalu goes through on Pushkay. We saw, I think, who else swapped positions there? Because I saw, it was Williams. Williams got Shukes. So that's for 6th on the road. And into the pits now come Dennehan and McGorgy. They know they've got to react. Oh, very wide was Adam Maguire in the background, nearly hit. Oh. But all 3 of them in. So Jan Grankvist lead the race. And we know how fast he can be in clean air, so he might well be able to benefit in ways that others can't. Tomasz Wok into the pits. Wok was the top driver on mediums, wasn't he? Unless that was...
Yes, he was.
Yeah, because
it said he was.
Stepkovsky started on soft, so unless that was a glitch. But that is an extremely early start. Maybe just, again, going for the undercut. Out of the pits they go. Where's Dennehan? He is... Okay, he's jumped everyone he needed to. He's ahead of Stefan Rohr. And Rohr is ahead of McGorgy, look. So Rohr has jumped Owen McGorgy. And that means that we could provisionally, or we could theoretically have an Edge Esports 1-2 at this rate. So the undercut definitely effective here. Seems to be the way to go. And that's important as well, because some of the drivers who have left it out quite late, Grankvist, Williams, Shukes, etc., could end up losing out more than they expect to at this point in time. The undercut really has been effective throughout this whole season, hasn't it? It's been a force to be reckoned with.
It really has felt like the stronger strategy all year. It's usually, like you see in real life, it's very track dependent, but it feels like it's been very consistent this year.
Absolutely. Jeffrey Fournier, P4, as into the pits. Grankvist is in, so Matthew Williams will lead the race. Zolt Shukes is into the pits as well. These drivers, I believe, are on the hard tyres, judging by race view. And here's a replay from on board the freshly hardened Adam Maguire. Oh, that's where he lost it. Coming in, that's where he nearly hit the pit wall.
How the rules colour that.
Of course, he was still on the soft tyres at that point. It's just the way that the rules work. Yeah, you're right. Is there like a commitment going down there or something like that? I'll have to watch back the replay and see if there's... Might have to look at the DC decisions for that one, but yeah, I think there is a... Ooh! Lally, sorry, being forced off the line. I think you do have to be... Yeah, sorry, there's a line. I think you have to have committed by that point, which he technically did, but then ran over it again. Here's McGorgy on Silver Joffert. This is an important one. Through he goes. So he's straight back on the tail of the Edge Esports cars. David Young, new Star Wars movie, The Undercut. Yes, The Undercut is indeed a force to be reckoned with.
Look at Silver Joffert now, really doing a good job of keeping everyone behind while Matthias Musk can stretch his legs a little bit ahead.
Williams and 48 in.
Oh!
Wide.
That's a big slide.
Pushkay in, so Lalu will lead, followed by Wasserman. There you see the tyres. Masculi hasn't stopped, hasn't he? So he's the last driver to stay out on the mediums at this point in time. I think, well, I always say this when we see drivers pitting so early, but I think we might be on No, we're definitely on for 3 stops, right? Ooh, bit of a lag spike there from Silver. I think Adam was lucky to get away with that one. Yeah, I think 3 stops look to be the way to go today. I'm not convinced that 4 stops are going to be particularly viable, but I think it's going to be quite a safe 3 stop. Through go the Nocturnes. Do they find the room? Well, Adam does. There he goes. And now, slightly cut off is Ruben Machete behind. He's got Maguire for company. Oh, it's getting... Don't go 4 wide.
Oh my
Don't
word, this is getting a bit much.
Oh, and slidey goes Mark Schluter. And there's going to be almost wheel-to-wheel contact there with Silver Yotha, who is losing places like a brick in water. And that was rather tense there, with cars going nearly 4 wide into turn 9. We're on board with Mark Schluter, who became meat in a sandwich. Oh, they did touch. No wonder he ended up sliding on the exit, but he's lucky he didn't end up getting both his wheels taken off. Yes, Matthias, Stefan does have more Superleague Championships than Sergio Perez. Well done.
Yeah, that's the stat man there. We'd need to employ him.
Down the straight they go once again. And Denahan is catching the, I say, battle for the lead. Lally versus Wasserman. That's only a technicality at this point in time. No disrespect to those drivers, of course, they're running their own race. But Denahan should pass them relatively easily, we expect. Down the straight they go, up into turn 9. They're going to be held up, but of course they're all in the same boat at this point in time, so it doesn't really matter. And to be honest, might end up helping out Denahan. He's got his wingman right on his tail, and again I say that with no disrespect. Riot was a very good wing the last Grand Prix, fighting through the traffic, holding on his hard tyres for a long time, and then of course letting Jake through on the final lap of the race for a 2nd place finish. Great stuff from Stefan, very clever.
I mean, it's really quite interesting. I've been quite critical of Stefan this year, and it's at this end point in the season where he's finally been able to put in these kind of performances to help out Jake. And you know, Suzuka and right now are prime examples of that. And it was really interesting. I did speak to Stefan after the last round, and you know, I said that it was really good to see him fighting back up there, and clearly just found something in his driving, and now he's able to do that job. I know he wants to be fighting for the championship at this late in the season. I think he knows that. It's well and truly long gone, and now he's just trying to help out as much as he can, and he's doing a great job of it here. I mean, it's a shame that it's happened, especially at the round where now Tom Stevens had a massive shunt and is pretty much nearly out of it, but never mind. 4th still there from him.
They're cutting through the slower drivers here like they're getting blue flagged, which they're not. Oh, Magorki there with a late but necessary move to get through on David Wasserman and follow the Edge Esports drivers. Here's a replay now. This is Adam Maguire making a move on Mateus Moose. So this is actually position. That's not Moose, sorry, that is Silver. No, that's Moose. I think so anyway. So through he goes into P5. P6 as it was actually, but he's just got up into P4. And up into P4 now due to some pit stops. So Wasserman and Lalu both in. So Denahan now lead, Ruot and Magorki, but they are all in a DRS trait, the top 3. And it's Maguire, Moose, Machete, Maguire, Schluter, Stepkowski and Wok, the top 10. Tom Stevens meanwhile is still running, but he's a whole minute off the right to say, and in P22, and he may need some attrition today to score points, potentially keep the championship alive, depending on what goes on up in front of them. If they were to finish as they are now, Jake Denahan would be crowned champion with a race to go. It would be a very tragic way to end a very exciting championship. Of course, Jake would deserve it wholeheartedly, but we all very much want to see the championship go to the final round, whoever wins it. Philip Pushke hit P17, bit of a lag spike. Yep, that's... Wasn't it Philip? Philip was lagging quite a lot in the last race too, wasn't he?
I was literally about to say the same thing, yeah.
He's having connection issues for sure. How, so when drivers are lagging around like that, and they could potentially cause accidents or whatever, how much responsibility does the driver have in that situation? Can they really be expected to pull the car up for the safety of others?
I factor too has the new latency thing, where if it detects somebody with a high ping, it ghosts the car.
It still caused an accident last time though. Do you remember on the first lap at Suzuka, someone lagged back, the car behind braked and then got hit?
It's dependent on if it's a screen freeze or if it's genuine game lag, like a genuine connection lag, like a latency issue.
But if you're lagging around like that, other cars can still see you doing that. It can still cause confusion and incidents, right?
Yeah. But I said that if it's a latency thing, it will ghost you. But if it's just a genuine screen freeze, then yeah, you're kind of screwed. I'm not sure exactly how the rules see that. If it's sometimes it's not noticeable to you though, and if you don't have somebody telling you, if you don't have an engineer, for example, it's quite hard to know. But yeah, and I think it depends what situation you're in, but you should really do what's best for the race and pull over if you're consistently having latency issues.
Looks like the biggest climber in this race so far has been Silver Yoffert, avoiding the chaos, staying out quite late, and seems to have made up some places as a result of that. And now he's in the pit, so never mind. Oh yes, he stayed out very late, didn't he? God, he's only just pitted. Okay. Never mind then. Dropping down the field, but at least he had his time in the sun. Of course, we won't know who the biggest climber really is in terms of the net order until right towards the end of the race, due to the way that it's happened. And look at Owen McGorgy really sticking with. They're going to be so difficult to pass due to the nature of the DRS, the nature of this circuit. But Owen is doing all that he needs to for this point in the race, really sticking with them. And to be honest, if he can anticipate the next pit window and maybe try for the undercut, who's to say he can't jump both of them in one fell swoop here, or at least separate them? That would be the most important thing.
Sorry, just looking at this timing tower, look how close the top 11 are.
Yeah.
Together. And then there's like
7 seconds.
A huge gap between then P11 and P12. That's really interesting. There's a bit of a DRS train going on here. Look at that.
Every car that you see on your screen right now is genuinely in those positions. They're not back markers or anything like that. They just have not separated since pretty much right at the start of the race. You often get that in the Super League. That car running wide. Was that Tom Stevens?
I think it is going a lap down. Yeah.
Oh, that's hurt. That hurts. That really does.
That's not good to see.
Come on, Tom. Keep it going. Keep it going. Cutting the corner completely there, but going slow enough. I don't think the game will detect it. Yeah, I feel really bad for Tom Stevens in this one. What happened at turn 1 did not appear to be his fault, but then again it didn't really appear to be anyone's fault. If anyone was to be blamed, it would have to be Stefan Rohr, but admittedly I really think a penalty would be harsh. It was clearly not deliberate. I know that when you see an incident involving the teammate of the championship leader, you can start to develop conspiracy theories or whatever, but on this occasion I really think that Stefan is blameless. And if I was a steward, that would be a clear racing incident decision. But it does mean that Tom Stevens is very much out of championship contention. He would need a miracle for Jake Dennehan to lose it. Of course, we do have 40 laps remaining in this race, plus of course 71 laps of Brazil next time out in order to decide it, but there is a chance we won't even get to that stage with the championship intact. Through the hairpin we go, the hairpin where the World Championship was so famously decided in 2021. Some would argue, of course this is Formula 1 I'm talking about, some would argue that the World Championship was decided in the stewarding room today, but that's the kind of thing that happens sometimes. Jake Dennehan now out of the turn 6 and 7 chicane, through a long straight which technically counts as a corner for some inexplicable reason. I hate it when circuits do that sometimes, but I mean, I know it's not straight, but it's not exactly a corner you have to think about. Grankvist here going for a move on Maguire to the outside. This would be a really brave one if you do it. And Jan goes through. Very nicely done. Maguire comes back at him on the inside. Oh, they do feel on each other. Jan gets forced over, maintains position. I've also just noticed that Jan is on different tyres, so he's on the mediums, whereas he's on the softs. That's the way to give yourself a competitive advantage there. That'll be a sixter on the back of Philip Pushgate. Tyres are pretty much a consensus at this point in time, so it's strange to see them. No, that's not right. They're all on hards, aren't they? No, I must have been seeing the wheel rims. Oh yes, it's the wheel rims on them. My apologies. So yeah, they're all on hard tyres at this point in time, but there you see the contact. The top driver who isn't on hard tyres is Silver Yoffert, 21st position. That's not true, Aros Masculi. God, so race view... No, it's just updated, so Silver Yoffert is the top driver on mediums. In fact, the only driver on anything other than hards at this point in time. Sorry, it was just the graphic taking a little while to update. There you go. Hard tyres, as always, the tyres to be on here, as they have been for pretty much the entire season, the only exception being qualifying. And Matthias Moose and Adam Maguire just went side by side further back there, and Moose has got through up into 4th position. That looked to be an attempt as well, Stepkowski on Luke there. So Luke dropping back, having been passed by Jan Grankvist.
This is the issue, something needs to happen. Luke's just losing the DRS now. Well, lost it, well and truly lost it. Jan's 2 seconds down the road and it's only been 1 lap. So something's going to have to happen.
Ruben Machete decides to bolt early. This is for the second window. Still relatively early, but I guess he is on for a 3-stop. So Ruben putting on those new tyres. Luke Maguire follows him in. And that is a good call, I would say, because of course we've seen that the undercut is powerful here, and with Luke losing time and out of the DRS, this does appear to be a reasonable time to pit for both of those drivers, so I can see why they've done that. It does mean leaving it out a bit later on, but that's okay. Track position is far more important at this point in time. It just strikes me as interesting that a stint on soft tyres was 10 laps, and then we've just done 10 laps on hards as well, so they could absolutely, it wasn't that the tyres were going off, it's just that they weren't quite at their peak operating window, and maybe it's better to keep your tyres in that stage and have a few extra pit stops. I think it's definitely 3 stops for almost all of these drivers here today. But then again, those drivers have made 2 stops already. Dare I say 4 stop maybe?
I couldn't tell you. I wish I'd done a little bit more homework coming into this round. Everybody else, well, let's say everybody else, it's the top 3 here. Staying put for now. And they've got a bit of a gap behind as well to Matthias Moss.
There's Luke Maguire there coming out ahead of Mark Schluter. Look, he's on a bizarre strategy himself, isn't he? He stopped earlier. Adam Maguire now
same time as Luke.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's
coming. Adam Maguire. Not too far off the halfway point in the race now. 7 laps to go until that. And Apologies if we're sounding a little confused in this one. It's just strategy is very important at Abu Dhabi, so it is very important that we get it right and that we know exactly what's happening. Machete did actually jump Maguire there. Don't entirely know if he'll stay ahead for particularly long, but he did jump him. Maguire with the DRS coming straight back through again. And up ahead of them, you have David Wasserman passing Fabio Sixter for P13. And yes, Adam Maguire did get back through on Ruben Machete that time around. There are Schluter and Luke Maguire, and Schluter is through. Luke really is dropping back now. It's not looking great for my pick for the win. But yeah, you're right. Mark he stopped twice now, hasn't he? So I was a little confused because I don't think I saw him stop one lap before Luke. So even before that, that's strange.
Royal hits the pits as well.
Stefan Royal in now. Okay, very good.
As well as Stepkowski.
So the picture is becoming clearer. Let's see if they put on another set of hards. I expect they will. Yep, hard tyres and off they go. I wonder if this is a similar situation to Singapore, where they've turned up with the softest tyre compacts, and as a result the hard tyres aren't actually that soft at all. We'd have to ask the drivers for that, but anyway. Luke Maguire has the fastest lap of the race and gets back past Mark Schluter there. So he is still pushing, still going for it, but he still dropped back throughout that whole sequence. And Roat has come out just behind Jaco-Pekka Lally, which might hold him up for the time being. Now he goes for the move. An important one to pull quickly. And through he goes on the straight, the first of the DRS straights. Maguire in the background, fighting with Masculi and putting a car between himself and his teammate Machete. Up in front, my goodness, here's Stefan Rowe. Jake Denahan is still under pressure from Owen McGorgy. McGorgy is still within a second of him, within DRS range of him. Playing the long game, that's for sure. He is lurking and stalking. David Wasserman being passed by Adam Maguire. There are the leaders. You see Jan Granqvist in the background as well. Matthias Moos is in the pits. I'll be interested to see where Stefan Roth slots in with this bunch of cars too, considering he got slightly held up on pit exit, but he did get that undercut, which is what they need. As through, that was a good move there from Luke Maguire. Quite a bold one up the inside, very decisive on Eris Mack. Good move. And there is Adam Maguire on the tail of Fabio Sixter, I believe. And again, decisive move, goes through. Good stuff. Ryan, what do you make of this situation here? We're halfway through the race.
I don't even know what to think. The strategy's confused me a little bit.
The stints are definitely shorter. Sorry, the leaders are closer than I expected there. We're going 3 wide further back. You've got Moose, Sixter and Wasserman. Not Moose, Adam Maguire in there. Moose has already got through. And they all get through nicely, and a very opportunistic move from Ruben Keddy. Here is Fabio Sixter again. Side by side with Luke Maguire. Here comes... Who is that? That's the Green Stripes car of Mark Schluter. Opportunism, clearly the word of the day here. And Denahan and McGorgy are in together. They were extremely close on that lap there, and just like in the first pit window, they are in at exactly the same time, not letting each other out of their sights. Thomas Rock is in as well. Surely sometime soon, HRT have got to do a box opposite Jake. If he comes in, you stay out, you go for the overcut. He stays out, you come in.
So...
But it does require you to know when abouts he is going to stop, and stop within a certain, well, within 1 lap of him basically. Now where are they in relation to Stefan Roth? Roth's through! Roth is ahead of Jake Denahan. So Roth has come out in the net lead of the race, we believe. He's about a second ahead. McGorgy P7. Fascinating stuff here. Maguire is now side by side with Jaco-Pekka Lalu, goes through. Importantly done. Fabio Sixter there. on the tail of Daniel Stepkowski. Here's Mark Schluter. Is there a change of positions up in front as well? I think Schukes and Fournier are fighting it out. Matthew Williams is up there. There's positions changing up and down the field. It's very hard to keep up with at this point in time, especially considering some of them are for position in the net order and some of them are a much longer term thing. Jan Grankvist is now in the pits, so providing Fournier stays out, he will race. And Grankvist will probably come up behind Adam Maguire now, considering how close Maguire is to McGorgy. But that all depends on the speed of his in-laps. Out he comes. Fournier does lead the race by less than a second from Zsolt Schukes. Stefan Roll is in the strategic prime position, say. But surely, if they were to finish in this way, with Roll ahead of Denahan, then Roll would absolutely give the position up to Denahan before the end to seal the World Championship. Here comes Denahan with the DRS going through on Matthew Williams. Car seemingly quite fast in a straight line, especially with Roll's slipstream from up above, so Roll accidentally hindering Jake Denahan's overtake, but there we go. Jake does go through now, and they separate themselves from Owen McGorgy. And Grankvist comes out behind not just Maguire, but Lalu as well. Lalu will probably let him go quite quickly. They are on different strategies. Williams and McGorgy ran the outside. It's a bold one, and he goes through. Bold is absolutely a word that sums up Owen McGorgy today, and just in general, Ryan. Oh, this is important stuff for Owen McGorgy, carving through the traffic just as the edge drivers are doing.
We've got 15 cars under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Oh, as we see McGorgy... No, not McGorgy, sorry, that's all Schukes. Diamond in the pits and Fournier, yeah, so we're back to... Well, it looks like a normal 1-2-3 at the moment, and to be honest, if I'm Denahan, I'm laughing. I'm rubbing my hands together. Yeah. I'm sitting behind Rualt, saving a bit of tyres. I know that he'll let me go at the end if it needs, and McGorgy and the car as well to that team. I'm cruising right now.
Surely it's safer to have Denahan in the lead and Rualt defending rather than the other way around.
You can just save tyre though, sat in his DRS. Not having to work too hard.
I'm afraid to say Philip Pushkate has retired from this race, having been lagging about earlier on. It's probably a remnant of that. That overtake you can see there is Jan Grankvist on Matthew Williams. And in the background, Lalu was going at it with Moose. Moose, who lost a bit of time in that last stint, positions in the net order. Remember, he was running P4 or 5 earlier on. Here comes Matthias Moose again, on the outside line, just like Owen McGorgy did, and through he goes. And I said it about Owen, and I'll say it about Matthias, but that is bold. Here's a replay. Philip Pushkate is at a normal lag spike. Oh, he's coming out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, definitely. Easy peasy, and back into the pits. So unfortunately, that is the end of the day for Philip Pushkate. He becomes our 4th retirement, providing he doesn't attempt to rejoin the server, because he can if you lag out a lot of the time. Matthew Williams into the pits, gets out of the way of the lead battle. David Wasserman up 12 positions now, but he is yet to stop for his stint in this window. So Stefan Roll, who is yet to win a race this season, leads the race, but only just over Jake Denahan. It's important that he keeps giving Denahan that DRS, just as Carlos Sainz did to the McLarens in Singapore in the Formula 1 race this season, in order to stop Owen McGorgy from coming through and challenging for the lead of this race. Adam Maguire has DRS from McGorgy. Jan Grankvist has DRS from Maguire. It's 5 for the lead as we approach the halfway mark here at Abu Dhabi at Yas Marina. Fournier fights with Schukes further back. Jan Grankvist, meanwhile, is flying just as he did last time out. He set the fastest lap that last time around. In fact, he's the only driver in the 126s. Last time out, I was absolutely amazed by the door from the Super Venturi car at this point in the race towards the end. And once again, he seems to be putting on quite a display of hot lapping during a Grand Prix. And if last time out is anything to go by, we cannot count out Jan Granqvist yet, as you rightfully mentioned at the start of this race, Ryan.
Well, you know, the last time round I proved I'm pretty good at that prediction, Lark, so...
You did indeed. You said Thomas Rock was the one to look out for.
Yeah.
Won the race from 11th on the grid.
Yeah, so Jan doing a fantastic job, and he's going to become a problem. I can just see it. We're only on lap 29, and he's already getting on the back and ready to pounce to this pack. And you know, he's safe from behind as well. He's got a good 3 seconds in the Sheddy. He can just focus on going forwards, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
And we know he can overtake. He's done it already in this race.
Oh yeah.
He absolutely can. Here's Jakob Lalo in the other Super Venturi car. Not quite as fast as Jan on a typical day, but he is extremely consistent and very capable indeed. Definitely a challenger for a top 10 today. He's behind Daniel Stepkowski, who is also a contender for the top 10. Jake Dennehan here. Even though Stefan Roll is in prime strategic position, sure that Jake is the most likely to win the race, because Stefan would give it to him if they were to finish 1-2. And as it stands, with Roll leading, Dennehan, Gorky, Maguire, Granqvist, Machete, Moose, Maguire, Schluter and Stepkowski. And with Stevens still down in 21st position, seemingly not making up much time, potentially with damage. This would give the championship to Jake Dennehan if Roll was to pull off and give him the win.
Just the worst way, isn't it? It's just the last thing we wanted to see today. Unfortunately, no offense, Jake or Edge, but you know, everybody loves a good title fight. And for it to end this way would be a real shame. But can't knock Jake, and you know, there's still 28 laps for something to potentially happen. Let's wait and see.
Now, throughout this whole season, it's kind of sounded like I've been against Jake Dennehan, but as you watch Matthias Moose going through on Room Machete. But that is nothing personal towards Jake, of course. The reason that I have been semi-rooting against him is simply because I respect him so much as a driver. He is so darn fast, and so he really does remind me of Lewis Hamilton. Feels inevitable, and when he's approaching the front of the field, you know that he's going to score big. And so when you have someone like Tom Stevens doing an amazing job of taking the championship fight to him, you want that championship fight to continue. But when Jake wins, he dominates, so there's no real guarantee that it will go to the end, as we're seeing by today. So there have been stages in the season where I've been I guess subconsciously using language make it seem that it's a disappointing thing when Jake Dennehan wins a race, but it's not, and it's not personal at all. It's just that Jake Dennehan is too good at this point of the season, and he was always the most likely driver to win this championship. Tom Stevens, though, has fought so valiantly, and even if he was to go into the final race in dramatic contention rather than realistic contention, that would be enough to make it a championship decider, and that would be enough for him. I'm sure he would want the championship, but at least he can say he was a close runner-up. There you see the battle for first graphic on your screen. The top 5 drivers all within DRS range of each other, and running wide there is a back marker. Giuseppe Lino getting out of the way, rightfully so. Some of the other drivers did have to arrest a little bit of speed to get it round the corner. Tom Stevens is in the pits, by the way, down in 21st position. 32 laps of this race gone, over halfway through.
Yeah, just reading the YouTube chat. Got a few late joiners: Lewis McGlade, Tom Parker. Good to see you both. Grip722, which I believe is that Mike Pittman, asking what position Tom needs to be. And yeah, I think it's P13 if he wants to, somewhere around there if he wants to keep the title fight alive.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He needs to score within 2 points of Jake's. Sorry, he needs to score at least 2 points. That's what I'm trying to say. If Jake is to win the championship, so basically, he would need to. Sorry, no, because on countback, so he'd need to score at least 3 points. So he would need to be either 14th with fastest lap, 13th position. Both of them potentially doable. I think he might need some attrition, but it's potentially doable. He's got to keep trying though. He's got to keep going. This reminds me of Nico Rosberg in 2014 when his car started failing on him in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton was on course for the championship, but Nico kept fighting even when he dropped out of 5th position, which was the place he needed if Lewis retired. Even when he dropped back, he continued to drive on, and he ended up finishing that race in 15th position. He lost the championship, but at least he finished and kept it going right until that final lap. Max Sluiter now pits from 11th position. I'm sure that Tom Stevens will keep it going for as long as he can as well. And if that's not the final lap of the final race, the final lap of this one, he is not giving up any time soon. Jake Dennehan still content with sitting behind Stefan Rott, not going for that lead position. Jan Granqvist looked even closer to Maguire on that last lap. He hasn't been setting the same pace that he was before he passed, or before he got up to the tail of the leaders, because of course there are cars in front of him now, but he is still potentially, he does still have the potential to be fastest, and Granqvist has gone through on Maguire. So Granqvist is up to 4th position while we were watching the top 2. And just as we're talking about him not being able to make up positions, he makes up a position. And while I was just talking about Jake Dennehan feeling inevitable, Jan Granqvist has started to be the inevitable one in these last couple of races. So through he goes there in a straight line through on Adam Maguire up into that 4th position in the race. And Jan Granqvist is pushing for a podium. So far this race, Rott, Dennehan and McGorgy have easily been the top 3, definitely the ones to contend with, but Jan is not out of this yet. He is still the fastest driver on the track. Tell you what though, David Wasserman has just got into the 126. Ooh, and Tom Stevens sets the fastest lap of the race. So that means that if he was to get into the top 15, he would get an extra point for that. It also means, of course, that he still has the pace to push on in this race. Oh god, I've just seen on the graphics though, he's about a minute behind Fabian Schierze. Although he did pit on the last lap, so I'm not sure that's entirely representative. We'll have to see as he crosses the line this next time around. But yeah, he's a long way back, I'm afraid to say, but at least he's still pushing on. This is commendable stuff from Tom Stevens here, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer of regardless of your situation, you should never give up.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I know it's even more amplified by the fact that he's got a title championship to, a driver's championship to compete for, but, you know, even if he was not in a title hunt, as if he were all dip into the pits, I would promote my drivers always to make it to the end.
Now this is very interesting stuff from Rott, because this Dennehan vulnerable to McGorgy and Granqvist. He doesn't have the DRS anymore, so Rott has left Jake to fend for himself. Now Rott should theoretically have an advantage, a strategic advantage from hitting Elliott, because we've seen how effective the undercut is, but he doesn't really care about his race here. He is Jake win the championship. So if he is to come out ahead, but Jake has lost the position, it won't end up mattering quite so much. When McGorgy takes a little look, but it's the second straight where he really needs to challenge. Or does he sit behind Dennehan further? Surely this is the point in the race where he's got to start challenging. Now that Rott is away, and now that Jan Granqvist is right on his tail as well, it's push or be pushed at this point in time. Pass or be passed. No opportunity into turn 9 that time around. This really does seem like a good point in the race to to have an attack. Now if I was Owen, I would pit this lap, or maybe box opposite Jake Dennehan. I think that might be what he's about to do. Zolt Fuchs has just been passed by Jeffrey Fournier as well. And they don't come in, none of them come in, so they maintain their position in the train. I really expected at least one of them to box opposite, because that way at least you're not doing the same thing as them yet. You could be shuffled back in the pack, but hey, you could also go to the front, and I think that is worth a try.
He's catching in the background though, just ever so slightly. Matthias Muss in clean air. He's closed it from about 6 seconds to when we got on the straight last time. I think it was about 4 points something. That's pretty good on his own.
Yeah, didn't have the best second stint, but I think his third stint's been a lot better. Yeah, very good call. Mark Schluter now has the fastest lap, taking that away from Tom Stevens, 126.3. The track still very fast, very rubbered in and all of that. We're looking back at McGorky now, who has the DRS, presumably has some push to pass left as well. Although, unfortunately, we can't see how much push to pass everyone has, we can only theorise. I theorised that by sitting behind Jake for such a long time, by keeping his DRS, Owen has actually managed to maintain quite a lot of push to pass that he can use towards the end, used strategically. But of course, we have no real way of telling. Through again they go. None of the top 4 coming into the pits. Well, has obviously decided to bolt significantly earlier than the other drivers in his train, which is a very strange strategy, since realistically the thing that was helping Edge so much was the fact that they were both there together on the track. Here are Maguire and Machete, who have been slowly dropping back together during this race. Machete not quite so much. He started about P10 in this race, I think, if I'm not very much mistaken. Actually, Grankvist was P10 because of his penalty, so I think Machete moved up to P9. Was that someone running really wide in the background? I think that might have just been the polystyrene marker I was thinking of. Almost looked as if someone had just straight lined the corner pretty much, but I think they were okay. DRS again. Active as it was before. Maguire seems to have lost some ground that last time around, maybe a mistake or something. And once again they stay single file amongst the top 3. This may not be the most exciting race from a pure action and instant point of view, but from a strategic and what's the word, tension point of view, this is actually quite an intriguing one, considering what we're seeing on the track now is impacting things that happen further down the line, but we're not entirely sure how just yet. Maguire has a little twitch there. I reckon his tyres might be starting to go off a bit quicker than the others, maybe. What do you make of that, Ryan?
Yeah, really been pushing, haven't they? I'm sure, I mean, all these guys have really been trying, but
whoa.
Yeah, Maguire again. That was a big tank slapper. But they're coming towards the end of a stint. I think they're all going to be feeling it. It's just who's pushed the hardest, but it definitely looks like it was Maguire, because he's starting to drop off the back of this top 3. Not by a lot, but just a bit. I think he's out with DRS there as well, which is not great for him. So yeah, I think he has to box this lap really.
He'd be silly not to.
Or he's going to fall definitely straight into the clutches of Matthias Muss, who's brought that gap to Maguire now down to 2 seconds. Hasn't brought the gap down to the leaders, but is catching Maguire.
McGorky poking out down the straight, showing himself to... He doesn't want to force a risky move if he doesn't have to. Dennehan makes a mistake, that will be as good as letting him through. So if he can try to force a mistake, then all the better. Here's Jake Dennehan, leading by half a second and continuing on. Now as for the Tom Stevens situation, Maguire stays out actually, they all stay out. As for the Tom Stevens situation, you may be thinking, well, I've seen drivers have incidents on the first lap and come through to win before, why is he not doing the same? You have to remember quite how long it takes to replace a rear wing, much longer than a front wing. And also he seemed to have quite heavy rear suspension damage as well, which they would have had to replace in the pits. So he was in the pits for at least a minute, I'm sure.
And he had to drive the entire lap.
Yep, absolutely.
With no front or rear wing. So
Overall,
that wasn't great.
You know, that cost him at least a lap. And then of course getting blue flagged for the leaders would have cost him some more as well. So Tom Stevens, I'm afraid, well and truly out of the action. That one. But we knew that already. Back to the leaders. Look at Jan Granqvist. You can tell how racy he is. He takes a look to the inside there, but that is speculative more than anything else. It does appear that it's rather difficult to overtake the Edge Esports cars today. I assumed for a long time that Owen was just kind of biding his time. You can tell by the body language of the cars now that they are trying to upset Jake Dennehan and trying to force him into a mistake of some kind. Oh, big twitch from McGorky. Yeah, they do want to be ahead at this point in time, especially from a strategic point of view. And I don't really understand why they aren't peeling off into the pits, because they've got to do so at some point soon. And 18 laps is absolutely doable on hard tyres, so surely at this point.
Maybe we can go medium soft, I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, that's true actually, because if you leave it out later, you can go onto the medium. But surely the undercut's more effective, right? You want to go for the track position, so just bring it in, guys.
We'll see, but they've gone so many more laps that they are going to have way fresher tyres right at the end. It's not like it's a 1 lap or a 2 lap undercut, this is like 3rd or 4th lap now on top, so
I guess it will get the tyres
the
that
opposite
they're more
way.
able to race with, but you know, may not need to race at all if you've got the track position, if you jumped ahead.
Just, sorry, going on a different point. Somebody's mentioned in the YouTube chat, which something I didn't even really think about. See, Matthias was going to get it done down the straight, yep.
Good move.
Saying that if Edge gets 1-2, the Constructors' Championship's actually going to be pretty close. Which is something I've not really thought about, because it seems like Edge have always been just a little bit behind.
Yeah, but THR have not had a good day here. I mean,
no, they really haven't.
Luke, of course, has really dropped back, and Tom was involved in that first lap incident, so you're absolutely right. I could try to do some on-the-fly mathematics and see if I can work out...
There's 33 points in it.
So there's 33 points in it. Now, Edge, of course, if they finish 1-2, score 45 points, because, of course, that would be excluding fastest lap. We don't know who's going to get that just yet, as Adam Maguire pits now. And THR, if they were to finish 12, I'm not sure. I think it's more realistic for Luke to finish 10 at this point in time, due to the various places they are in the pit window. So that would be 6 points. So that means that God, so Edge would gain 39 points. They would take the Constructors' Championship, wouldn't they?
Wow.
Very good point. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thanks to whoever it was in the YouTube chat. That was
Thigh, so that would be Lucas Dive.
Very, very good shout. And so, like, oh yeah, sorry, sorry, on a different point there. Didn't even notice that Granqvist just made it past Magorgi.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So I was distracted by doing the calculations, but you're absolutely right. Jan Granqvist has got through an Owen Magorgi. Here's how he did. A straightforward slipstreaming move, and he goes to the inside. Very important there. If he'd gone to the outside, he'd been hung out to dry, and that was the instinct, of course, because there wasn't much of a gap on the side, but the gap that there was, he found, and through he went. Very good move from Jan
really
Granqvist.
Close.
Into the pits comes Owen Magorgi, right on schedule. Jan Granqvist and Jake Dennehan stay out. They are fighting for the lead now, with Jan less than half a second behind Jake. Matthias moves now into the pits as well. Tomasz Vok into the pits. Royal goes through. Now where will Royal be in relation to Owen Magorgi? I expect that he will have gained a few seconds on him. Oh, it's going to be more than a few seconds. I think he's well down the road here. That is the importance of the undercut. And Magorgi will be faster at this point in time, presumably faster towards the end of the race. But surely Stefan can go to the end without stopping. Here's Jan Granqvist to the outside line. He's challenging on Jake Dennehan, but gets hung out to dry on the lesser used part of the circuit. He'll have the DRS once again, but won't have quite as good a run on the exit of the corner. He's still got a good slip. No, he's much closer than I expected. He's going to try again. He's on the outside line again. Sweeps right around the outside of Jake Dennehan. He's on the curb. And he goes through. So unlike the last race where he tried to move to the outside and spun, this time Jan Grankvist has taken the lead of the race with a straightforward move on the track. Fantastic stuff from Jan Grankvist. And he does lead the race, but where will he be in relation to Stefan Rohr when he makes that last pit stop? They both stay out once again. Rohr is about 8 seconds ahead of Owen McGorgy on the track. That is why I was so confused that McGorgy was staying out for so long. Now, is McGorgy still on the same tyre? Yeah, McGorgy's still on hard tyres. Can you confirm that, Szymon? Because I'm pretty sure he is, yes. So, he's got to gain that purely on tyre life rather than tyre compound. As Zolt Fuchs comes into the pits. But yeah, that means, of course, that Rohr has more than just track position. He's miles ahead. As Fuchs pits. Now we wait to see where Grankvist and Dennehan will be in relation to Rohr. But judging by the times now, they'll be miles behind as well. They're closer related to McGorgy in terms of times.
I'm trying to keep up with everything that's going on. There's so much action. This seems to be the most strategy, well, not strategy, most pit stops we've probably seen all year. Trying to keep up with it, or at least in the dry race side, sorry.
In Singapore.
Yeah, but trying to keep up with this is mental. And I didn't do Singapore either, so I touched the bullet on that one.
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, Stefan looking good, but his tyres are a lot older.
Singapore would have been good practice for this one. Into the pits now. Jan and Jake both coming in. Now Stefan Rohr will take the lead here. The real question mark will be over Owen McGorgy. I think he might go through, you know, judging by the times. And that would really set us up for a race in the latter stages. And it sets Stefan Rohr up for an awkward situation as well, because before all of this he was helping Jake. Now he's going to find himself, you know, 8 or 9 seconds through. Jan exits ahead. And look, Owen McGorgy is going to... He's going to be well ahead of them as well. The undercut is so powerful here. There's going to be 4 or 5 seconds between the two of them. There they are. Yeah, there's at least 3 seconds between the two of them. So Rohr leads by 5.5 seconds from McGorgy. Then it's Grankvist. He's about 2 seconds behind now. Jake Dennehan with the slipstream. Jake Dennehan has the DRS. He's straight back on the attack after the pit stop. Stays behind. He knows his better chance is in the second DRS zone. He knows that Grankvist is fast there. Here we go again. Jake with the DRS wide open. The track curves to the left, makes it tricky to pass, but then you get the corner. Jan Grankvist maintains third position. I wonder what would have happened if Jake had gone for it. Maguire passes Maguire. That's Adam versus Luke. A change of positions. Luke Maguire, I think, still owes a pit stop, doesn't he? Yeah, I think he still does. But he's made the same number of pit stops as some of the others. Jake Dennehan's hasn't been updated just yet, but anyway. There we go, across the line again. So it's, like I expected, it's very easily a 3-stop for most of these guys, but Luke Maguire has been out for nearly 10 more laps than Jan and Jake for a start. I think he might well be setting himself up for a 4-stop strategy in this one. Nah, surely at this point you've got to stay out. Either that or make a, you know, theoretical splash and dash, go onto, or a virtual splash and dash, go onto the soft tyres, and then run to the end. There's Ruben Machete just behind Luke Maguire. Luke will be losing oodles of time as his tyres begin to go off. Here's Jake Dennehan. The rest of the race is really in his hands now. And of course, if he can't make his way through, that will mean 2 things. First of all, it will mean that Stefan Rohr is free to win this race. And second of all, it will mean that the championship will go down to the final round. Albeit only mathematically, because realistically it would take an accident for Dennehan in the last race to give Tom Stevens the championship. But as we saw today, things like that can happen. As on to another lap they go. It's a very interesting situation, Ryan. The Edge Esports drivers had quite a comfortable 1-2 for quite a long time, as Luke Maguire does pit again with Ruth Machete. They had quite a comfortable 1-2 for quite a long time. And now, of course, they've got two cars separating them. I don't think the strategy went quite to plan for them there.
Hits there as well for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The strategy's been big and it's worked for some people and not for others, but Benek Realt's being caught at the front there.
Grankvist taking his first look at McGorgy. A speculative one, it was a look nonetheless. Here they come out of the chicane. Is this an opportunity? McGorgy is vulnerable here. And what can Jake Dennehan do if Grankvist is to pass McGorgy?
I think
Takes a look, no room.
Jan should just sit back as much as he can with Jake on his rear, that is, but let McGorgy do all the hard work, let him burn his tyres, you know, at least for a lap or two, and then if he's not making any dent into Rualt, then yeah, make the move, but...
I don't know about that. Surely you want to go past McGorgy and then put up Jake, because Jake has got to be as... And he's... Now what is going on here? Because Jan Grankvist only pitted 2 laps ago, so surely he's picked up a penalty. And he does have a penalty, just confirmed. So that will be a pit lane speeding penalty for Jan Grankvist, taking him out of contention in this race. That is pointing stuff for a driver who yet again will have to wait even longer for his first victory. It was going to be a tough one to win anyway, but he was definitely on for a potential 2nd or 3rd position. And now he drops to 8. That's going to hurt so badly for Jan Grankvist. Possibly one of the most unlucky drivers on the grid. But, you know, when it comes to penalties, you bring them on yourself. So that's legit, that's fair. And Jan is now down to 8th position in this race, behind the RSR cars, as McGorgy and Dennehan do battle unhindered.
He just couldn't write it. Every time it looks like he's going to get close, something happens. We've had a pit lane penalty, we had a spin on the second to last corner last time. It's just, oh man.
Oh, had a bit of a slide into the pits, but got it under control.
Oh, he didn't engage the button.
Was that the one? That was where he got the penalty.
It was a big overspeed, so he actually did drop below the 80 kilometers and then like powered on.
And Stefan Rohl's in the pits. My apologies, Stefan Rohl is in the pit lane.
Wow.
Late on in the race. Did he mistime his stint? Did he pit too early? He's gone on to mediums. So that would explain why why Rohl pitted so early compared to the others. He was going for a 4-stop strategy. Surely he didn't need to do that. He was on schedule with the others until relatively late in that last stint. And he's decided to go for an alternative strategy. He's come out just ahead of Jan Grankvist. This should be a battle. Well, Rohl will have much fresher tyres. And Dennehan retakes the lead. And while we were watching Stefan Rohl pitting from the lead, Jake Dennehan has retaken it. And right as it looked as if the lead was, or the win was going away from Dennehan, he is right back in prime position now. And McGorgy can do nothing to come back at him. So Jake Dennehan retakes the lead of the race in the late stages. He is through, and with 10 laps to go, that puts him back into championship winning potential as well. So we're now looking at near enough champion-elect Jake Dennehan leading this race ahead of Owen McGorgy, Ryan.
Wow. I kind of expected it from Rualt, but I just don't know now what he's got to gain from that. And yeah, I mean, Jake getting
Maguire's been for a spin. Luke Maguire's been around. I noticed he's lost some places, and that would explain it. He's now running P14.
It's a little bit of a Yeah.
Gets hooked
Well, that
up.
was a bit,
Oh,
that was
that's
a bit of
Result
a,
Shukes there. So he was
bit of a
running
time
12,
slapper.
and he's down to
middle.
P14.
Yeah, it's not a great evening for THR at all. We want to forget, that's for sure. And the way it's looking, yeah, probably edge out. Might end up jumping them in the team's championship. Let's see what Rock can do. He's only about a second off the back of Wack and Setkowski, so he should be able to get them too. I'd assume.
Well, I
with
do have
that
to
tyre
admit, at this
advantage.
point in the season, Edge do appear to have the stronger car, but their drivers are doing so well to maximise on these opportunities. Royal will surely make up some places towards the end of the race. Won't be enough for a podium, but he's going for it. McGorky once again will stick with Denahan. He's been exemplary today. And to be honest, as much as I'm all but declaring Jake Denahan as the world champion, cannot count out McGorky to take a win today, just yet. We're into the final 10 laps of this race though. So if he's going to come back at him, he's got to do it soon. How much push to pass have these guys saved? That's an important thing as well. An important distinction to make. Lap 50 out of 58. The order is Jake Denahan leading from Owen McGorky, Adam Maguire, Matthias Moos, Daniel Stepkowski, Tomasz Wok, Stefan Roll, Jan Brandqvist, Jeffrey Fournier, Matthew Williams. And then also in the points are Shukes, Machete, Schluter, Maguire and Lalu. And Tom Stevens is well and truly out of contention still. He's catching up to the back of Giuseppe Liner in front of him, but he's still well and truly out of the points paying positions. Fighting on just in case, as he needs to, but it's going away from him lap by lap. Here's Stefan Roll on the back of Tomasz Wok. This should be relatively easy, with apologies to Tomasz and of course you, Ryan, but there he goes, through into 6th place. And at this rate, he should catch Daniel Stepkowski as well. He's on for 5th position in this race. I did think he pitted surprisingly early, but for a while I thought that was just when they were going to pit for their last stop. It was only when the others stayed out lap after lap after lap that I realised something was amiss. That was Tomasz Wok there, running a little wide. Jan Brandqvist now coming into play as well. So Shukes just... Did he lose a place or did he gain a place on Machete? No, Machete, sorry, gained a pushed. Oh, and he's got past Shukes as well. So Machete is gaining places back now. I think they're fighting with each other there, down in 11th and 12th place. The gap between the leaders, 0.8 of a second across the line at that time around. Denahan marginally faster. Stefan Rook, sorry, fastest driver on the track that last time around. Mark Schluter was, sorry, Luke Maguire set the fastest lap of the race a couple of laps ago, 125.7, 717 that is. Tom Stevens has the fastest lap of the race, 125.6. There've been a couple of updates to the fastest laps in the last few tours. At least Tom takes that point away from anyone else. Jake Denahan's been in the 125s, and Gorky not quite. Here we go towards the end of another lap of racing, with Owen McGorky still stuck to the tail of Jake Denahan. Stefan Roll still gaining on Stepkowski and preparing for an overtake that looks like it will happen. And on to lap 52 out of 58. Not long to go now. Jake Denahan in championship winning contention. He's doing it with one fewer race than Tom as well, having missed the Spanish Grand Prix earlier this season. In all seriousness, this was always going to happen, as much as Tom Stevens tried. Jake and Edge are the package to beat this season, and no one is beating them just yet, Ryan.
No, and it's been a pretty fantastic first full season in Superleague for Jake. He's done almost everything right. He's only been one or two races where we thought he's let the ball slip just a little bit, but Obviously, with a missed round as well, with the technical difficulties, definitely knocked it out of the park, and him and Edge have been a great combination. Let's see if he comes back for another year. See Luke McGuire now going to make up a place on Shoots, and Shoots
Comes out with Shoots,
round.
he goes sideways. Those guys are having a great battle for a good few corners there, but unfortunately Shoots gets the worst of it. Here's Mark Schluter on the tail of Ruben Machete. Still more fastest laps coming in, and personal best as well. Jan Granqvist has just got into the 1:5s on that last lap as he approaches Stepkovsky. Royal has got past Stepkovsky, so that's what position now. That's a change of position, and Royal is into the 1:25s as well. 1:25.639. That's very nearly the fastest lap of the race overall. Got only a thousandth of a second off actually. So.
Because I'm surprised it isn't actually just the fastest lap yet.
Yeah, push. Gorgi's got back within a half a second of Jake Dennehan. Actually, keep your eyes on this, because there's another DRS zone coming up here. If he can get a good exit... Oh, never mind. Bang goes that theory. But...
Yeah, a little bit of slip. Well, he's still on him.
Yeah, he won't pull a move there. I think if he got that exit right, he could have actually given Jake quite a headache down that corner there. Here's Matthew Williams, defending from Ruben Machete, who goes to the inside. Slight touch in a straight line. Into the corner they go. Get it through neatly, guys. Jan Granqvist, meanwhile, has got through into 6th place. He's passed Daniel Stepkovsky, as we knew was going to happen. Through another DRS zone they go. It's all going to accordion together as they go through turn 9. But they maintain their positions. Williams 10th, Machete 11th, Schluter P12. Oh, and they touch, and Machete has been tipped around. Oh, and into the back of him goes Luke McGuire. So THR's day goes from bad to worse. His front wing has gone flying, as has the rear wing and the car now of Mark Schluter. So Schluter is out of contention. We're going to see a replay. This is Adam McGuire that we're watching, and there's the collision. Oh,
that's really unfortunate for Luke.
Yeah. Very unfortunate indeed. There's the contact.
And then Schluter just slows down.
Schluter was waiting for them, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He wanted to place back. And then he just gets walloped and ends up having his race ruined. Luke had nowhere to go.
Yeah, Luke couldn't do anything there. I feel bad for him.
THR aren't going to score any points at all today, are they?
Doesn't look like it, no.
Oh dear, says Josh Downard. So, yeah, that's going to end up... Edge Esports are absolutely going to take the lead in the Constructors' Championship with 1 round to go. Definitely the car to have at this point, so... And Schluter is out, so Mark Schluter will not be scoring points here. Luke McGuire has dropped to P19. Still continuing on in the race though, so props to him, just as we said with Tom Stevens. But THR, if you look at the results from this race, they're going to back on this. This is not a great day for the THR drivers. So Edge Esports here are currently on for a... Actually, let's see a replay first. This is Jan Granqvist's move on Daniel Stepkovsky for P5. P6, sorry, got it done. There you go, up the inside. Easy as you like, through he goes. RSR still having a good race though, 7th and 8th, after being 11th and 12th on the grid. I'm sure that when Luke watches this back, he'll message me about commentator's curse and all that, since I predicted him for a win earlier on. He's not even going to be in the points. But anyway. I was touching my desk at the time, and my desk's made of wood, so if you talk about curses, it's not one of those. Nah, never mind. Look at these two. Owen McGorky has been like Jake Dennehan's shadow today. It really does appear that whatever Jake can do, Owen can do just as well. Needs to do it slightly better, of course, because that's what we're given the position, but he can do it just as well at least. Lap 56, so this lap and then 2 more to go. 3 laps in total. There you see the live standings on the bottom right, that would give Jake Dennehan the World Championship. Don't you forget, that would be his first World Championship in his first full season of GPWC Super League. A very impressive feat, to say the least. Down they go onto the back straight. Continuing on. Jake, not quite a rookie in the season, in this series, sorry. To be a rookie, I've heard the definition that you need to have done fewer than 3 races in your career before, and Jake did 4,
hasn't he? Yeah.
He did 4 races before the start of this one. Racing for Scuderia Brasilia for his debut in Azerbaijan last year, where he did 40. Then VBM Esports, where he scored his first top 5 finish at Singapore last year. But Edge Esports really made him come alive. He was 2nd position at Imola. He scored his first victory at Bahrain, and since then he's won at Saudi Arabia. He's won in Germany, Great Britain and Hungary. And he's on course to win here today as well. Matthew Williams slipstreaming up to the back of Jeffrey Fournier for 9th position. Here's Matthias Moos. We're on the penultimate lap of the race now. Battle for 3rd stretches back a bit, doesn't it? Maguire, Moose, Raw, Grankvist, Stepkowski. Raw and Grankvist, the hard chargers in the battle, through after their relatively late stops. Grankvist coming through fired up from that penalty. Only has himself to blame, but it seems that fate hasn't been on his side anyway. Or either. Down the back straight they go. It's impressive that no matter what happens in GPWC Super, you always end up with a close race. If it's not for the lead, you'll end up with a close fight for 2nd and 3rd. There's always one in the top part of the order right until the end of the race, and even the leaders are staying close. Do not discount Magorgi for a last lap challenge. He is really pushing, you can tell by the twitches.
He's also pushing. Matthias Mus wants that podium. He's got 1 1/3 lap to do it.
Absolutely, not long now to go in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It hasn't been a classic of a race, and in fact it's been a little disappointing at times with the championship fight being over so quickly, but the end could be another corker, just as it was to go in Suzuka. We're on to the final lap of the race now, with Dennehan and Magorgi separated by 7/10 of a second. 8/10 of a second, or 7/10 of a second, sorry, across the line, less than that. So here we go, down the DRS straights for the last time. There was a switch for Dennehan, but Magorgi's really got to focus getting his line right out of the chicane. It could be do or die now. I'm not convinced he's going to do it, but he's got one more opportunity. Through they go. In the background, Maguire is being challenged. Matthias Moos takes 3rd place on the final lap of the race. Through he goes. That's been a long time in the making. It's been a great recovery drive from Matthias Moos. Had a slight heart palpitation there because I saw the yellow flags come out, but the leaders aren't close enough for it to be them. So Dennehan, I think, has it in the bag now, providing he can bring it home. Matthias Moos has got 3rd position. Here's Stefan Rohr on those fresh medium tyres. Can he get Maguire on this last lap? He still stands a chance. But meanwhile, as we're watching this battle, we have to start calling home the brand new world champion of Super League, Jake Dennehan, who has been absolutely superb. Dennehan wins the race, and now of course we've got to wait for Tom Stevens, but realistically we can call it. Jake Dennehan is the 2023 Super League champion, just 2 years after he claimed the Formula Sprint 1 championship. He's come up through the ranks, FS1, SL2, SL1, and he's won the championship. He's done the career ladder just as intended. Even did, so it was Formula Sprint 2 that he won back in 2021. He was 3rd in Formula Sprint 1 last year. Of course, won a super light race in that as well. So yeah, has come through the career ladder as intended, and it's finally paid off And with Eros Masculi finishing in 15th position, that will declare Jake Dennehan as the champion. So there you have it. Dennehan wins, followed by McGorgy and Moose. And there are the donuts now. The donuts for not just Jake Dennehan, but Owen McGorgy drove a fantastic race to claim his personal best GPVWC result. Matthias Moose, great job in 3rd place. He's always been there or thereabouts in the Super League Championship. A real contender whenever he sets out. He hasn't done every race so far this season, and that is his first podium of the year. He's scored podiums here in the past, and soon we'll get you the full order so you can see just how they up. But there you see the live standings on the bottom right, and it's rather disappointing considering. Whoa, look at that! Acrobatics from Owen McGorgy. Rather disappointing considering we came in today expecting to see the championship tighten up, if anything, to go into the final round and fight, but unfortunately it's not happened that way. Jake Dennehan wins the Grand Prix and the World Championship. Owen McGorgy 2nd position, Matthias Moose P3, then it's Adam Maguire, Stefan Ruhl, who of course claims championship lead for Edge, I believe. Jan Grankvist P6, then Daniel Stepkowski P7, Thomas Rock P8, Jeffrey Fournier and Matthew Williams. Then if we move on to the 2nd tile, we'll see Ruben Machedi, Jakub Pekalalu, David Wasserman. David Wasserman there, not bad, I believe that's his first points in Super League.
It is.
Fabio Sixter P14, Aris Masculi P15, an important point there for Pescara. And then missing out on points were Luke Maguire, Fabian Schietzig, Silver Joffert, Zolt Schukes, Giuseppe Lino, and the bold and brave Tom Stevens, who gallantly pushed on right to the end of the championship, but will miss out on an opportunity to go into the final round in contention for the championship. Jake Dennehan blows up his car, he knows he doesn't need that one again. And then of course the DNFs in this race were Mark Schluter, Philip Prischke, Carlos Martin, Pascal Pollens, and Robin Pansar. Now, after all of that action, we can start to talk to some of the drivers from that race. We don't have any of our podium finishes just yet, so let's start. Oh, there we go, we do now. Let's start off with Matthias Moose with his very first podium of the season. Matthias, final lap, eh? You left it late. What a race!
Wow, what evening, man. Yeah, after the start, I got sandwiched. I was thinking I had some damage on the car, but the car was nice to drive. And yeah, for the last stint, I was all the time hoping that I can have some tire advantage against Adam, and this P3 is awesome. That's like a victory today, really. Thank you.
I'm sure it feels that way with the pace of the leaders, but what an incredible race that was. You seem to really drop back in the second stint. Was there anything that you learnt from that part of the race that you used to get yourself back through to the front?
I tried also to save my tires and to have good ones at the end, and there was some fighting guys, and I didn't want to risk. I know the race will come back to me, and I just was chilling a bit, and yeah, at the end I could drive very, very well.
Fantastic stuff. Well, thank you very much for talking, Matthias. That's your first podium of the season. What do you think you can do in Brazil in 2 weeks' time?
Well, I hope I can have a good last race by the team. We don't know about Nitgos if he continue by the Dacia next year, so I will enjoy this. I'm really glad to work with him over 5 years now, and yeah, we'll see what happened. But last race, I've give everything, like every time, and yeah, let's see what will be on the table in 2 weeks.
Fantastic. Congratulations on your first podium, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Maybe. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Right. So unfortunately, we can't bring in any of our other podium finishes just yet, or our champion. But we can bring in someone who was crucial in the story of that race, Tom Stevens. Now, Tom, first of all, commiserations. I'm really sorry that it had to end in that fashion. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling all right, but Yeah, it's a shame what happened out there, I guess. I'm not really sure what happened, but it is what it is. That's racing. These things happen. We can move forwards, but I've got to say, congrats to Jake. He's done a fantastic job all year. He's been the man to beat every round, so he's fully deserved. And yeah, congrats to him. But there's still one round to go, so yeah, got to try and beat him there.
Absolutely. So, Brazil, you're aiming for vengeance, aiming to get as close as you can to that point tally, even if you can't usurp it.
Yeah, I mean, the focus for me is fully turned to the teams. I think it's very, very close now, so all the
Very
focus
close.
will be there, and everything is still to play for. So yeah, I'm really gonna prep for Brazil. It's a track that I really enjoy, and I've had good results at in the past. So yeah, I'm really looking forward for it.
Now, just quickly, we do have to ask you about that first lap. Have you been able to digest it yet? Have you worked out what happened?
Well, I'll have to watch it back before I can really comment. But from what I remember, just before the race start, I had not had the best qualifying session ever, so I was wanting to make a move to get a few places early on, and yeah, it was 3 wide into turn 1, and unfortunately it didn't stick. I'll have to watch it back to see what happens. Whether it was my fault or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, yeah, it's just unfortunate.
I think it was a racing incident, just one of those things that happens on the first lap. So, bad luck, Tom, and commiserations, but I'm sure you will come back fighting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, Ryan, who do you reckon? Who do you think we should speak to next? Maybe.
I know we've interviewed him a lot this year, but I always like talking to Jan.
Yeah, let's bring in Jan Grankfish,
And
shall we?
I'm interested to hear as well about the pit lane incident.
Don't say that right as he joins the call. Hello, Jan. How are you?
Hello.
Well, first of all, commiserations. I'm sure you know what we're going to ask you about first.
Uh-huh.
So, how are you feeling about everything that just happened?
I honestly am the worst that I've been since the start of the season. It's so frustrating. Now, all these chances are coming from nowhere. My race pace seems to be on fire, but then this sort of stuff happens. The pit lane was completely just due to bad luck. It wasn't even my fault because I was getting false shifts the whole race, so I knew something was going on with my button plate on my wheel. And as soon as I had to go into the pits, press the pit limiter, I expect it to be on. It's not there.
So a technical glitch there, costing you several positions in that race. You mentioned your race pace. You seem to have this amazing knack of just pulling out laps that no one else can do, just at a whim. But you're absolutely right. Things just happen to stop you from getting to the front. The thing that I would like to point out, though, is just how much your race results and your race pace has improved throughout. So even though it hasn't come your way just yet, surely this is a sign that it will, right? How are you feeling for Brazil in 2 weeks' time?
I mean, to be honest, I think since the start of the season, the likes of Jake, Owen, Tom, Adam, all of us are, as drivers, almost dead equal on many fronts. I don't think at the start of the season, was realistically that much slower, but I think we just had a really bad start to the season with knowing how to set the car up. After Spa, we figured something out with how to better our tyre wear and race pace, which is one reason we saw Robin take a race win as well, I think, which was really nice. And after that, you could see me doing really well in after Spa and Monza, Suzuka, Singapore, and now here. It's all sort of falling together, but not quite. So yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to say what should have been, because obviously I can only blame myself now that I'm in this position so far away from the championship fight.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, we can confirm unofficially that you have wrapped up 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship in this race. That's got to count for something, right? That's podium position there.
Well, yeah, I mean that's nice sort of consolation for otherwise what I thought has been a very up and down season. So yeah, I mean 3rd place, I'll take it, and yeah, we'll see what happens in the future.
Fair enough. That's a diplomatic answer, but for an up and down season, Jan, you seem to be on the up and up. So keep it up, and I'm sure you will go up. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
So that was Jan Granqvist, 6th place finish in. So definitely had the pace for better. Now, tragically, we're not able to speak to our new champion because he has not come into the interview. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap it up soon. Just quickly then, since we don't even seem to have anyone from Edge in the interview room, we can speak to the THR team boss. Chris Butcher, just a quick word. This has not been a good day for you, but you guys are not out of this at all. What's the plan for Brazil? Coming swinging?
We're gonna finish 1-2 at Brazil. That's the plan.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah, pretty disastrous round to be honest. One of those things, lap one with Tom. A bit 50-50 really. The part of it, is 3-1 doesn't go, and there's an argument to say in Tom's position in the championship it was a bit of a risky move, but I don't think it was particularly his fault. He was as far left as he could be, and it was just unfortunate really. The incident with Luke, I don't know whether you've seen it, but that was shocking on behalf of the Green Stripes car, to be totally honest. But we can't change it. It is what it is. We've just got to do the best we can at the next round. The prep for this one wasn't the best, and it's one of those things where you find yourself out of position and you end up in all sorts of nonsense, and that was the case here. As a team, we didn't really do a good enough job in terms of prep, setup work, all that sort of thing. So yeah, we're going to be on it for the next 2 weeks for Brazil, and do the best we can. And the team's championship's still there to fight for. So that's what we've got in our sights.
Were you? Sorry, I interrupted there. Carry on.
No, that's fine. All I was going to say is, we have to give a huge congratulations to Jake, because he's been phenomenal all season. He's been the man to beat. And to be honest with you, Tom was really only in the fight because of a bit of bad luck with Jake early in the season with that disconnect he had at, was it Silverstone? I can't remember where it was exactly, but he's been so fast and consistent and good on tyre wear. He's been the class of the field really this season. So it's a fully deserved title for him, and I'm very happy for him.
Yes, I agree, and that's very modest of you, Chris. Just quickly, were you coaching your drivers through that race? And if so, what do you say? Just carry on, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that I can say in that situation to make it better. I've just got to do the best that I can for everybody. But in reality, when Tom had that incident, he was always going to go a lap down. So there wasn't really anything I could do to make that situation better from him, other than to try and persuade him to keep going, because you never know what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, like I say, we just weren't good enough today. That's all it boils down to. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to focus on the positives, and that we've still got a really good chance for the team's championship. If somebody had said to me at the beginning of this season, as a brand new team to Super League, that you'll finish second this year, I'd have snapped their arm off. So.
Well, there you go. Get to arm snapping, because you're second in the championship going to the last round. You still have a chance. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Chris, and commiserations that today was not your day.
Thanks, Caitlin.
So that's it for this particular broadcast. Thank you all very much for coming along. And of course, thank you to everyone that we interviewed, as the whole broadcast team. Ryan, you've been fantastic to talk to as always, and thank you to Szymon and Frelik for the cameras and the stream you've been watching. Do you have any closing remarks on this one, Ryan? Anything about our brand new champion, for example?
I was about to say unfortunately I do, but that's about something else. I'll get to that in a second. About our Champions Drive. I love it when a champion closes it out with a win. That just feels right, doesn't it? I think there's nothing worse than seeing someone win a championship by getting like 2 points in 14th or something. So yeah, anyway, he's been impeccable all year, but Tom put up a quality fight. And for a year one team and driver, I think that's just it's like you said, if you'd asked him this at the start of the season, they probably would have bit your hand off. But now that it's happened, they'll be disappointed. But yeah, really good, and now everybody can just send it at Brazil. And unfortunately, I will not be in attendance.
Ah, Ryan.
It is my 22nd birthday on the race day, so this is my last commentary gig of the year, which I'm gutted about. Interlagos is my favourite track as well, but every year it falls on my birthday, so never mind. But I'm sure yourself and whoever takes over me for that round will have a fantastic time and sign off the season in style.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Ryan. You've been fantastic to talk to all season, keeping me company, so I'm not just waffling aimlessly. But yeah, great broadcast once again. As I said, thank you all for watching. Your next broadcast will be on Tuesday, which will be Sprint 2 from Brazil, the final round of Formula Sprint 2, followed by, of course, the final round of Formula Sprint 1 on Thursday. Then, of course, the week after that, you've got Super Light, SL2 on the Tuesday, and Super League on the Thursday. That will be the final Super League race of the season, and the final broadcast until I think the Young Drivers Test. So unfortunately, it's drawing to a close, guys. Make sure you don't miss it, but in the meantime, take care and good night.